TOWKA Talks, Episode 3. I am here this morning with my friend, colleague, and some of the third thing I can't think of at the moment, Brenda K. Jarvis. Some of you in previous videos, if you've followed me for a while now, know her as the Hall of Famer and the former national champion, and we'll get into all of that. But I wanted to bring Brenda on because she has a story just like you do, and I felt like she could really make an impact on somebody watching this, especially for people who are wanting to be collegiate athletes and aspiring coaches, and just want to make a lasting impact on this world. So, Brenda, I want to first and foremost thank you for coming on, and go ahead and we'll start from the very beginning. Go ahead and share with the audience a little bit about your upbringing and any events in your life that happened back then, whether positive or negative, that made a lasting impact on you.
Oh my, that's a big question. So I think I was a very active child. Definitely grew up on, I wasn't a farm, but it was 10 acres where we rode horses and we got outside and we were always very active. Got into athletics probably in middle school, and just tried various parts of running in their track program, which really wasn't a track program. And then got into high school and started doing track as well. Decided to try hurdling, which, I don't know, I guess it was a big climber and a big jumper, so it all kind of came together. It wasn't very difficult for me. And, had decent coaching there. I guess our theater instructor was our coach, so he did his best, but yeah, I guess that's where it started, and didn't take it as seriously as I wish I could have or would have, now that I look back on it. But at the time, I was about a sophomore in high school. My sister got sick with cancer, and I think my family took a different focus, which is definitely understood. They were pretty much caring for her and her cancer situation, and so I think I threw myself a little more in athletics and other things I probably shouldn't have been doing, but I guess you go down those paths, and ended up getting to my senior year and never won state as an athlete, was awfully close. I wasn't really recruited as an athlete, so it was one of those things that I kind of pursued that on my own. Got an academic scholarship at Adams State College at the time, and again, my parents were very involved with my sister's illness, so I had a friend take me down to the college visit, kind of walked into their program and said, hey, I'd like to run for you, and they said, sure, come on in. So it was kind of a walk-on athlete. They gave me a partial scholarship in track, so again, I wasn't 100% all in, but just wanted to keep pursuing that. So, yeah, it was different because it was all on my own, and I think that was what I was seeking, was just maybe more of that, what would be the word? That family that I guess I wasn't having with my family because they were involved with my sister. So, and it was a good thing. It all ended up being a great thing, and I had wonderful coaches in college, and ended up doing quite well, I guess, after it was all said and done. So, but again, wish I had been 100% all in, and wondered if I had been, because I always had one foot maybe out the door and wasn't 100% committed in my athletics, but did well anyway. So I look back and wonder if I had been more focused, how that would have changed things. But it was good. It was a good career. Ended up being a national champion a few times. That was cool.
Do you feel like your sister's cancer diagnosis, like, obviously you were pretty young too when all that was going on. Do you feel like you carried that with you to college and then on, as far as, like, because anything traumatic like that takes a toll on the family members and caretakers as well, just as much as it does the person themselves. Do you feel like you carried any of that with you? And if so, like, how do you think you were able to persevere through it to obviously get to the top in your events and be as successful as you were?
I mean, I'm sure to some degree I did. There was a part of me maybe that was a little, I guess, feeling abandoned. I know that's a strong word, but I was like, why weren't they there for me? But it also made me a little closer to my family after I left, and then realized how important those times were and the uncertainty of where she was going to be. But I also sort of pushed myself away from all of that. So there was a lot of involvement that I didn't have with her illness. But, you know, I think I did throw myself into athletics and tried to achieve successful things to where I got maybe that pat on the back or the attention that I wanted from people because of it. So, but I think it was all good. It just, you know, that personal end of it took a back seat, and I just tried to throw myself more athletically into what I was doing. And I mean, it turned out great, and I have a great relationship with her and my sister and my mom and dad. Ours got stronger, and it was a good thing. I do think, you know, here I am 60 years old. I'm sure there's still parts of that trauma that still affect me in different ways that you still work through, but I think it makes you stronger no matter what. You know, you have to go through these adversities to be a stronger person. So.
Did you ever feel like, you mentioned the word abandoned, and I feel like somebody can definitely relate to that. I know I can personally. Do you feel like it's hard going off to college in a whole new world? You don't really know what to expect, especially from a athletic standpoint, because the competition is a lot more intense and tougher, and it's a whole nother level. Did you ever feel at one point when you were just alone, I guess, or did you always have that like coach or that friend, that teammate who really was there for you when you were like really in that time of need?
For sure, going on my college visit and my parents not taking me down to college was kind of weird, and that again, you kind of have some bitterness about it. Driving down to college and packing up my car and moving in by myself, that was kind of a strange situation. But I mean, I really was lucky to be in a program where the coach at the time was Joe Vigil. He's a very well-known coach, and he kind of became a dad for me, which was awesome. And I mean, did he know that he needed to embrace a lot of these young kids coming in? Probably, you know. Did he know he needed to mold them a little bit and be positive and teach them how to have a positive attitude? Yeah, and it was, I guess, the perfect thing that I needed. So now I went through 3 coaches through college. That wasn't all that great. I had 2 really great coaches and one in my senior year that wasn't super great, but hopefully at the time, by the time you're a senior, you know what you're doing. But, you know, I think that became my family. And I think for a lot of kids now in high school that I'm seeing, you know, at least here in Texas, is kind of a pressure cooker. And I'd love to see them go on and go to college. And those that don't go to college, I feel like them having some kind of a family outlet, whether that be a sorority or a fraternity or a club sport or something that they're involved with, is a good thing. But I just ended up having kind of a perfect situation and got very close to the girls I ran with, and yeah, it was a good thing. I got lucky, I feel.
So, in your collegiate career at Adams State, did you go through a lot of, no pun intended, hurdles as far as injuries, illnesses, setbacks, relationships? Did you go through anything that you can remember? Obviously, it was a while ago, and I say that with utmost respect. But did you go through anything that you feel like somebody can really like needs to hear, like that really can make a positive impact on somebody listening to this, as far as somebody who's going into that world or getting ready to, or just going through it right now?
Yeah. I think just navigating college in general is different. You're on your own. You decide if you go to class that day or not go to class that day. You set up your schedule to be successful for, am I an early riser or am I not an early riser? So becoming independent was really kind of freeing and great. And then it was a little daunting as well. But I luckily didn't have any major injuries. I mean, I tweaked my knee one time because I decided to go over the hurdle with my right leg and not my left leg, thinking that would be a good idea, and that set me back for a little bit. But luckily that wasn't something I had to deal with, and we had a great kind of medicine training program, or not PT, but you got to go to the trainers and deal with them, and they helped you out along the way and made you stronger if you were injured. So I think programs nowadays are great in that regard. Relationships. I definitely met some people that I went out with, and you start dating different people, and that was interesting and emotional at different times, because I had left my hometown and had dated a guy he was my high school sweetheart basically, and he went his way, I went my way. So yeah, you're navigating all of those changes. Again, I think there's got to be a limit to your focus, and of course, me looking back several decades later, my focus could have gone a better direction, whether it be with school or, with athletics. But I wasn't really a great school person in high school, but I think getting into college and having an athletic scholarship, it was now my job. And so if I wanted to stay in that program and stay with the scholarship, I had to definitely step up and be a better student athlete. So that was all good. So yeah.
Did you pretty much always want to eventually get to coaching? Because obviously you get to the high school level, collegiate level. I would say not every single athlete, but I would say some at least have an interest or are aspiring to coach at whatever level. Mm-hmm. Was there like a point when you were just like, yes, I want to be one of these coaches? Because you obviously had good coaches, or a couple at Adams State. Did that help you make your decision, like, I want to be one of these guys eventually and help other hurdlers, other sprinters, and other athletes in their journey? Or was there kind of something that you just fell into?
Yeah, I would honestly say I just fell into it. I mean, by the time I got done with school and decided I needed to be an adult, moved to Albuquerque, and I had gotten my degree in sports and exercise management, so I really thought I'd be involved with like a fitness facility or corporate fitness was kind of the goal at the time. And again, it went back to my first coach, Coach Vigil, saying, you have a degree now, don't let anyone sew you short, fight for what you've worked for in school. And again, don't let people just sell you short. You should be making good money and yada yada. And so I did. I went into this fitness club and they're like, oh, well, we'll hire you for a sales position. And I went, I don't think so. So I thought, okay, I'm not ready to be an adult. I'm going to go back to school. Got my master's degree, kind of focused in on like kinesiology and physical education. But the track blood, I guess, was always in me, so I ended up helping the UNM track team as a student, like a grad assistant. So they kind of helped paid for some of my tuition. And I guess it was that point in time where I decided I really like this, and I can be a coach. So I started pursuing the coaching end of it. And when I graduated with my master's, sent out Oh, just different applications for different colleges as an assistant track coach in the sprints and hurdles field, and stumbled upon Eastern Michigan University, and so I was there for 2 years, and then ended my coaching career at University of Wyoming and coached the men and women's sprinters, hurdlers for then 3 years. So I'm glad it went that direction. It was really cool. It's a great experience. I still keep in contact with a lot of the athletes, which is fun. So, yeah, I guess I fell into it.
Do you do you feel like, because you've obviously been through a lot, as far as like what you do today, work wise with alongside with me, I've known you now. Golly, how long have we known each other, Brenda?
4 years? 3 years?
Well, I thought it was longer than that because we used to work at the same organization before. We won't mention it,
I
but
knew who you were.
Yes.
I don't think I ever met you then, but
okay,
yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we knew of each other.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
I think so.
For a while, and you've been in the fitness industry technically as a trainer and stuff for longer, right?
Yeah.
Doing things like that. What advice would you give somebody watching who has an interest in that type of industry? Because obviously, personal training, exercise science, PT, physical therapy, stuff like that, sports medicine. That's very. It seems like it's a very popular career field, especially for a lot of people that we work with and work alongside. So, what advice would you give since you've been familiar with it and been around it for so long?
I mean, I think for me, it was cool because I wanted to help people, and I didn't really know what direction that would take me. But being a coach, you end up coaching people that end up being national athletes or national champions or record holders, or maybe you just teach them how to hurdle and they never knew how to hurdle, whatever. I think it's a really cool field to be in. Now that we're in a different industry, I feel like I am still coaching because I've learned about the body and the biomechanics of how the body works, and why is your left hip hurting? Is it because of your right shoulder? It's just a fascinating thing to get into. I think if anyone's getting into any field, whether it be fitness or retail or sales, I don't know. I think surrounding yourself with positive people is a great thing. I also think being a master of your sport, so to speak, whether this is a sport or not a sport, but you need to really get involved with what you're doing and surround yourself with those experiences to be the best that you can be, I guess would be the way I would present it. Obviously, if you aren't doing that and going a different direction, it may not be exactly what you want to do in life. I hope that answered your question.
You did. You definitely did. But even if it didn't, I know it helps somebody out there. So, Brenda, while we have this last minute, because I know you're a busy woman, today's a busy day, what advice or what words of wisdom would you give to somebody watching this video, this podcast? Whatever on your heart, the floor is yours. You can pretty much share whatever you would like at this point. So what would you like to leave the audience with in our last moments together?
Oh my goodness, that's a big question. Again, it kind of goes back with surrounding yourself with positive people. And that was the one thing that my coach taught us in school, was if you had a deadbeat roommate, find a way to get away from them. Don't let people bring you down. And if you have a passion for athletics or something in school or any type of situation, try to put yourself into it 100%. And probably that's the one thing that I look back on and wish I had done more of, is, again, put myself 100% all in with what I wanted to do. Sometimes we don't know what we really want to do, but I would say to any of the high school athletes right now, Yes, there's a lot going on. Yes, you're putting in a lot of miles. But having a college experience as a track athlete is priceless. And even if you just put your toe in it and see if it's going to work for you, I think it's a great experience. You get to travel, you get to meet new people, you get to be around athletes that are similar to you. So I would just say, go for it and find those people that'll help you get down that path a little easier.
Aspiring words from a very inspiring woman. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to the channel, become part of the TOWKA tribe, join me on this journey. Again, I want to thank Brenda for joining me this morning. And as always, I will see you guys on the other side.